it's been stuck in the old ways for a long time. Students are
Okay.
forced to learn an insane amount of knowledge to sit written exams that aren't for everyone, to then maybe forget about them 6 months later. It's just short-term memory, I think, for a lot of cases. Unless a student's really passionate about something, they won't switch on for the things that they're trying to learn for.
So I say no massively. Like the purpose of education is to serve our young people for their future. But what's currently in the actual curriculum, some of it is just purely like you just know, like, why am I learning about this? What does this have to do with me getting a house, with me getting a car, with me learning how to write a CV and go into actual work?
In order to move forward into, into the world of work and beyond, and that if you don't get A to C, then you're almost classed as a failure. And so I'm just interested to know, like, is that sort of model outdated, and are we starting to begin to move into a more skilled-based economy where where employees are starting to favour things such as, like, work experience and your CVs and the actual skills that you have over, a number or a grade?
I think, well, speaking from personal experience, when I graduated last year, I graduated with a first class honours degree, but I still really, really struggled to get a job.
I feel like we have very much a success before survival approach to education in this country. We have the kind of idea that we must, churn out grades and the best possible grades for schools to be seen with a great reputation. If you have a young person in your life that you love deeply, what do you want them to gain from education? What do you want them to go to education and see? You want them to feel safe. You want them to be valued. You want them to be nurtured. If we can build an education system that sees those things and that values those things and values a young person as a young person, then hopefully we're building a better system. And that's all I can hope for, really.
If you take it onto a sort of personal level, what would you like for that young person? I think that's a really great way to look at it. For me, mine's built on empathy, mine's built on understanding, equality, a sense of community. And education, to me, shouldn't be about the grades and shouldn't be about going through what feels like an exam factory that feels so intense and so pressurizing. I feel like it should be an experience, something that is encouraged for young people to see education as lifelong. What is your vision for education moving forward as young activists, as change makers, as people in this world that want to make the idea of education better and more inclusive?
It needs to prepare people and young people for the future effectively. As we mentioned, and as all the points have raised, it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it in any way possible. It doesn't prepare them the skills needed to grow up and learn about taxes or mortgages, about buying a car or anything. It doesn't make them employable. Especially it won't prepare them for the post-pandemic world.
I think we have the responsibility to activate change making within our peers, and I think it's the ability to help young people see themselves as individuals and what skills they need that are outside of the classroom, critical thinking and change making and an ability to see their worth. It's all of these skills, and I think as young people our responsibility now is to promote those skills, to believe in other young people and to constantly promote the power of the other young people.
Because right now, where there's essentially reduced content and no exams, we're actually surviving. Whereas before, maybe 2 years ago, the idea of not having GCSEs or A levels was like, how could we ever? Although it's difficult now, it's potentially something that we can consider in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely shifted. I think I'm more hopeful now, which sounds really strange. But I'm more hopeful that young people have found their voice and that there's a way of creating change in this society, and young people are being heard more or demanding that they're heard more. So yeah, if I can say anything, I'm more hopeful now.